Hello, my pickles, my snowflakes, my keto community, my turtles. Keto under 20. Yes, indeed. Keto is champ for me. And this bathrobe came from Miss Joyce, and you see her comment at times on my channel. So welcome, everybody. If you're new, hold on. We'll get you fixed. We'll get you up and running. We'll get you so happy that you're doing keto. You only wish that you got here years or decades before. Me too. That's why I'm still so enthusiastic about it, because it's really saved me after decades of the struggle. Like it's so built in. We're so used to struggling while trying to lose weight, forget even getting healthy again. We just wanted to lose weight because for a lot of us, it's all about the external part, right? I mean, whatever it is that gets you here. I say all the time, it takes what it takes. And yep, I had to have every bite, every lick, every finger smoothing, every spatula, spoonful, drink from thing that I had to have that got me here. But somebody commented this morning and it prompted me to think, well, now there's a video. There's two things, especially as an older woman. I know a few men that watch here, like Michael and Donald. But for most of us women, we have grown up with the scale as just the one thing that matters at the end. And it's so funny because it's like the scarlet letter. We think we have to put like our number in a dry erase marker on our forehead and wear like, it's a shame thing or it's a happy thing. But it's like, it's all based on what that number is. And we just get so obsessed and so crazy about it. And the one thing that I've learned with keto is that, I'm at where I call maintenance. Today is Tuesday, so I don't have my naked weigh-in until Thursdays. So the last time I weighed, I was 122.2. And so that's what I say I weigh for the week. And so I've never been this small in my life. I mean, I've talked about, my body took off, and not in a good way, at age 9. I matured as a woman. I got my period. I was wearing a huge bra. I mean, people, kids in my classes didn't even know what those things were. Maybe their mothers wore one and they kind of recognized it. But there I was, a full-fledged, very chunky, very chubby, just fat from mostly sugar stuff. I was addicted to sugar. But anyway, so obsessed with the scale. And for all my life, that was like what? I'm 9. I'm 67 now. So yeah, almost 6 decades of having that be it. And of course, I, and maybe a lot of you, grew up, excuse me, in the generation of no fat, low fat, fat-free, sort of environment where the fear of fat was like, oh my God, if you touch it, it's kind of like it's a flesh-eating substance or something. I remember being in people's houses and normal people, normal food people, to me, that's so rare. And they'd have real butter. And it would be like, oh my God, this is like real butter. It's like, it was like an imported delicacy, like truffles or something. And so between getting over the fear of eating fat and the scale being the only measure of accomplishment for weight loss, it's incredible. And now, here I am. Today I'm having 130 grams of fat in my food plan at 67. Love it. And, I use the scale just to keep me in check. I do have that window of 121 to 123 for my maintenance program. And as long as I'm in that window, I'm good. But when I look at my body, it's very leaned out. We're not going to do a naked show and tell. Don't get excited. It's not happening. It's still old, even though I don't weigh that much, and it's lean. So we really, it's funny because we've grown up in this culture of the scale is what means everything, and no fat, low fat, fat free is the only way that you're going to successfully take off the weight and leave it off. And we're just ruled by these two. It's like a false mountain range, our mecca, and we're always heading towards it because we never quite attain, achieve, accomplish our goals. And it doesn't matter. Not on keto. It doesn't. Because with keto, you're having high fat, moderate protein, and low carbs. And you're fitting it all in and you're making it work. Today, for my one meal a day that I love, that I never ever thought I would do, Kelly Catholic reminded me of that. She said, "Oh, you're doing OMAD and you never thought you'd be able to do it, or you tried and you couldn't do it." Now, if I was to have that second meal, which would be the first meal around noon, it just wouldn't feel right to me. I'm so used to having my OMAD now that it's just become second nature, and I do well with it. I do have 2 bulletproof coffees in my non-eating window of 23, 24 hours, though. But that seems to work too. The fuel just kind of keeps the coals, what are they? They're cooking, and in my coal stove. And so here we are, and we're bowing and praying to this mountain range of low fat, no fat, zero fat, and the scale, and neither one matter with keto. So it's just kind of funny because one woman says she got 3 compliments, one from her son, one from her husband, and one from a complete stranger. And she's like, but the scale just won't budge, or it fluctuates in this 4-pound thing that's making her crazy. And it just, I don't know, it just kind of tickles me because we keep honoring the things that don't matter, like the scale and the fat the amount of fat we have, and neither of those things matter with the keto. So it's just like, really, it's a sea change of our brain and our head in figuring out what is going to work for us and giving ourselves permission to have more fat, and taking away the permission to use the scale as the only tried and true guide. Nobody is judging you whether the scale fluctuated 1 to 4 pounds or not when they're telling you that you look good. It's a process for us. And so I've always said, let your genes be your guide. When they're fitting right, things are going good. When people are looking at you in that, I know something's changed, but going keto is kind of a long lifetime way of eating change. So we're not basing things on, what that scale says and how it goes down, and, being in Weight Watchers and I've lost and look at me and clap, insert clap here. We're not doing it that way. We're looking at it as this is our lifetime journey. And so we're experimenting all the time, because what works for me might not work for you. When I heard Stephanie Keto Person talk about having 200 grams of fat, and you've seen her 50-year-old body. She's got the body of a 20-year-old. And it's like, well, I'd never go there. But here I am having 140 grams of fat today, and I'm on maintenance, and it's working, and it seems to carry me through. I think that fat, being fat adapted means that you're relying on fat for your energy, and it's like a slow burning. That's why when I had coal stoves, I used to have 2 coal stoves that heated my house, one in the living room and one in the sunroom, and then the rest of the house was like this. And they were both slow burning, and there was just an art to lighting it, filling it with the coal, and letting it go all day. And to me, that's what my OMAD, 1 meal a day, is. I fill it up. I have the fat to kind of carry me in the bulletproof coffees for those, 22 to 24 hours. And then I have the meal that has a substantial amount of calories, as it were, whether it matters or not, with the high fat, moderate protein, and low carbs on that plate. And that is it. And I eat and I'm done, and I don't feel food coma. I don't feel like taking a nap. I don't feel bloated. I don't feel disgusted. It's just I've had my meal. And then I immediately floss and brush. So I know I'm done for the day. And I have one more lemon water with potassium, magnesium, and a probiotic after that one meal of the day. And that's it. That's it. And, I go to bed a few hours later. So I kind of like being awake and vertical with the one meal a day in my belly. And it just kind of smooths its way out. When I work an overnight shift at around 3, my tummy gurgles because I'm active for those. I've been up since like 11:15. So I've been up for like 4 hours, and I have to check the cells every 15 minutes. So I'm active on my shift. And then if I'm not doing an overnight, I find 6 to 7, it starts gurgling. And it tells me it's hungry, but I don't read it as eat now. It just means that what I've had is being, digested and such. And the fat in my 2 bulletproof coffees are just going to be the leveling off of keeping me even and balanced. It's just what works for me. You'll have to experiment for yourself to see what works. I have no interest in doing water fasting with no coffee, much less without fat in it. That's just not how I roll. I like the fat. And speaking of compliments, a couple of people have told me that they have been following me since Weight Watcher days, or they ran into one of my Weight Watcher videos that's 3 years old and said that I look younger now. So it's kind of funny because I don't see it. I just see what $10,000 could fix on my face. But that's just, I'm a woman, and I haven't changed that part yet about living in the USA. But the scale is just, it's a 1-week check-in. It's like when you go to the doctor and they do your labs for that year. It's like what that's it. And then I go with it, and I put my weight in my little green book, as I have since the first day. Oh, look, I put Weight Watcher weight. And at that point, I weighed, when I did it, 3+ years ago, I actually weighed less than I weigh now. And because somebody said to me, can you show some pictures in comparison? It's like the whole deal, when you're 67, is you've had decades of different shapes and weights, as we all know. So my 122.2 on me now is a whole lot leaner than when I started that green notebook. It said 118.4. So as you can see, I've even, I've put on 4 or 5 pounds, but it's solid, and I'm smaller than I was then. So yeah, it's the stuff. If you stick with it long enough, some things lose their power, and like the fear of fat and the obsession with the scale, those two things, they're like in our DNA, if you've been raised in the United States, and then forget the beauty and the right hair and the right everything. Oh, it's so much easier being older. And it's not like game over, but it's just, okay, this is who I am. And I remember Jessica Lange saying, I'm not going to have work done. I won't have work done. And I sat there and I said, well, I love Jessica anyway. I mean, she's just always been I just love her. And to think that she wasn't going to go and have plastic surgery. At least that's what she said before. And she's got to be 71 or something now, I think. And I just love that about her because she wanted to stay aging. And it was the same for me. I was blonde. And until 4 years ago, I think. And pretty light blonde in the summer. I used L'Oreal and I went up a couple of more blonde in the summer to go with the tan, don't you know? And then I decided to go gray, and I embraced the authenticity of who I am. I'm an older woman. I got sagging, and I got gray hair. And I got places that I could donate, some thousands of dollars to lose, tighten, and everything else. But I'm not right now. And so what you see is what you get. And it's freeing. It's very freeing. Also, it's as freeing as giving myself permission for fat, and as freeing as not being obsessed with the number on the scale, like it just determines everything in life. Like when you go to the bank or you get gas. When you go to get gas, you don't say, this man's going to think that I'm a fat, disgusting, pig, and he's not going to give me gas. You're not thinking that way. And yet, when you get on the scale, you think the entire world is judging you by what that number is. Because 2 days ago, you decided not to follow your food plan, and you're struggling now with the water weight part of it that feels like pounds because that's how it goes. So losing the scale obsession and getting comfortable with allowing fat, the good fats, not the crappy fats. No Wesson oil, no soybean oil, no corn oil. What are the other ones? Well, what you want to have: extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, flax oil, walnut oil. What else do I have? Did I say macadamia nut oil, coconut oil, butter, ghee, all the good fats. And your body will love you for it, and so will your brain. Old brains love fat. They do. And so trust. I really think, just a little side note, I really think Dr. Oz practices keto, but he just never lets it out because somebody else was on his show this past week, because I usually watch the food section either to be appalled, pissed off, or like encouraged that he's like letting that little stuff leak out. And he kind of tipped his hand a little bit. And somebody said, I know you, Dr. Oz, you like your fat. And he goes, well, yeah, it's true. And that was it. It was just a quick thing that probably most people that don't do keto wouldn't pick up on. But the time I heard he ate pork bellies for lunch, I said, yeah. And have you ever had a pork belly? Mm-hmm. Put that on your list. If you love your fat. Mm-hmm. If you love bacon, just wait till you have a pork belly. And I used to think it must have been this gross, slimy thing, but it's great. So this is enough of my going on and on and on. Try not to be obsessed with the number on the scale. Just, trust and believe. Like somebody said, they were lying down and they felt an indentation on their belly. That's what you go by. That's the sort of stuff. And it's too big to print on your forehead. I felt a small indentation on my forehead versus that number for the whole world to see. Let it lose its power over you. And the same thing with fear of fat. Let your fear of that go far, far away. Enjoy and embrace. Have some nut butter. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom in Food, getting used to doing this on my computer. Bye-bye for now.